Welcome back to another episode of the Lofty Lender Podcast. Today, I'm excited because I've got an awesome new guest, and I'm just going to hop right into this. So, few people can say they handpicked their career at just 8 years old, but that's exactly how my next guest's journey in real estate began. Every Sunday, she would carefully cut out the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier home plan of the week and collect them in a big drawer. She spent hours studying these plans, dreaming of the day she could help people find and sell beautiful homes. Now, with over 12 years of real estate experience, Mariah is living out that childhood dream with the same passion she had from the start. She has guided clients through some of life's most significant moments, from the joy of calling a first-time homebuyer to tell them they officially own a home, to the difficult conversations that come with selling a house after a loved one has passed. Whether it's celebrating victories, offering a comforting hand, or providing unwavering support, Mariah finds deep meaning in her career. Her love for people and homes makes real estate more than just a job, it's her true calling. Please welcome Mariah Klemp.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
Absolutely. So, first off, we're going to do the business and beyond segment. And I'd like to just understand a little bit, how did you get into real estate and why?
Well, as my intro kind of told this, or kind of set the tone for the story, I've always had a passion for real estate at such a young age. And when I was growing up, that's right when House Hunters became a real fun TV show. And so I watched House Hunters every day after chores on the farm. And I was just obsessed with these houses. And I always wanted to be in beautiful homes, and I thought, oh, what a great job that would be. And so I went to Iowa State for a hot minute. I wanted to be an attorney just for a few years, and so I went to Iowa State with a pre-law focus, and immediately knew that that was not for me. So I went to career counseling at Iowa State, and the first session they said, what are you passionate about? What do you love to do? And I thought, well, I've always loved real estate. And then they're like, well, do that. So I did. And I graduated from Iowa State, but I knew that since my sophomore year and beyond, it was real estate. And then right after I graduated from Iowa State in 2013, I got my real estate license up in Minnesota. I always wanted to live on a lake and live the good life up north. And so for a year and a half, I learned through several of the top agents in Minneapolis and Edina area. And then I missed home, though. I missed all my friends in Iowa. My friends in Des Moines were beginning to buy homes. And I was really struggling up in Minnesota, just kind of adjusting to that life. So I came back down to Des Moines and started selling to all of my friends that I made at Iowa State, to my friends from back home. And then it was just really easy for me to connect with the people in town. And I've been a realtor ever since.
That's awesome. You didn't want to move out to the coast? Like you said, Minnesota was your dream. I mean, you're watching those TV shows. They're like, I'm a teacher and I'm a stay-at-home mom and I make $3,000 a year and I want to buy $1 billion home. It's like, that
Yeah.
didn't entice you to move out there?
No, it was between Des Moines, Minneapolis, and Milwaukee. So I was a Midwest girl, I guess. I wanted to stay close to home, close to my family. That was important to me too. I think and it's good because I was a little Miss Farm girl coming, and then I moved to Minnesota, and I was in like Minneapolis, Edina area, some of the wealthiest areas in that city. And, I had a lot to learn, and I had to get a completely new wardrobe and really learn how to become a young professional. And that was hard, I will admit. When I was 21, I still remember one of my first buyer consults because I didn't really know much about real estate when I started. And I remember someone said, well, why is cash a better offer? And my answer was a little silly. And, from that moment forward, I knew, okay, if we're really going to make this dream happen, we got to figure out how we're going to be the best person at this. And so that's that kind of that pivot point when I really started taking things seriously. Like, no, Marie, this is your career. If you want to do it, you can do it, but you got to do it well. And so I've just never looked back. And one thing that's kind of been important to me is I've always been very independent my entire life. So I was never been on a team. I knew that my work was going to directly affect my income. And it was me. Were we going to pay my bills or not? So I think I have a lot of hustle in me. And so that really drove me to be successful, or to shoot to be successful.
Well, not to bring up a tough time for you as you're trying to cut your teeth in the Minnesota market, but I am curious. So you're 21, 22 years old, just got out of college. You've got these people coming to you. You say you're in the nicest part of the Minneapolis. These people are probably coming to you and saying, "Why in the world should I be working with a 21-year-old who maybe has never owned a house before?"
Yeah, I was a little cringe. I remember I really wanted wrinkles. I was like, should I go to the tanning bed and get more wrinkles? I just wanted people to take me seriously. And everybody in my office had their fancy cars, their fancy purses, and I still had my, like 2007 Pontiac Bonneville. But I realized early on that confidence was really important. And so it doesn't matter what age you are. Age is truly just a number. It's, can you deliver and can you be good at your job? And I think that my confidence hit towards the end of my time in Minneapolis, but it still really wasn't there. As soon as I moved down to Des Moines and got familiar with the area, of course, Des Moines is much smaller than Minneapolis. I mean, my confidence just soared. And so I was in my open houses every Saturday, Sunday. I did open houses almost every single weekend for about 10 years. And that's what drove my business. And I really think that, I mean, I look back at my past clients, my referral sources, some of actually, I shouldn't say some. A lot of the business I do now is from people that I met, 6, 7, 8 years ago at an open house. And I think it was because I just sat in these open houses and I was confident, even though I didn't necessarily know. It's kind of like that fake it till you make it. I think that's what's really important. But now I do know those things. And so, when a buyer's dad walks in and say, what kind of windows are these? I'm like, I am better prepared for those tough questions. And but yeah, Minneapolis was rough. I think people knew that I was a younger agent, but presenting myself in a professional manner was pretty important.
Well, you've now been in the real estate industry for 12 years, and you clearly have a lot of experience that are even just popping up in your head right now as you're talking. Can you pinpoint one specific buyer that was maybe the most rewarding that you had with a client throughout your process? I know it's a
Mm,
very tough question.
oh my gosh. Now my head hurts. No, I'm teasing. I think probably like 5 or 6 years ago, there was a moment. I wouldn't say a bad moment, but it was I don't know. I think one thing that I'm really good at is that I make friends with a lot of my clients. It just comes natural. I am just a relationship type person. And we were maybe, I think it was after a home inspection, and one of my clients said, that'd be really nice to get like a weekly update or something from you, just to kind of know. And, some of those, like, I've learned in my life that some of the smallest, like, sentences can really like alter the path of your life. And I've gone past, sometimes people say little things to me. It's like, huh, you're right. And we alter it and we change it. So I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago that I just decided, okay, let's really level up our business. Let's start giving my clients the weekly updates in their emails. Let's really get to the next level. And so once I started implementing that, I think my business completely exploded. So it was just like the slightest little thing, and it wasn't even a bad thing. It was just like oh yeah, that would be kind of nice. But I think that's what really changed my business. And so I go in it, with my prepared folders, my prepared booklets, whereas I used to kind of just do it like, okay, like I'm here, here like, no, this is a business and we're going to make it professional in every way possible. So I think, to answer your question, just that little interaction really changed the way I viewed my business and kind of how I do business moving forward.
I love that. So you had a clear vision for what you wanted to do really from a young age. Obviously, you had other ideas to start there in college, but you figured it out quickly.
Mhm.
Did you have any family members that were influencing you? I mean, you said you started cutting out the newspaper at 8 years old. I'm sure you weren't the one grabbing the newspaper off the front porch and saying, "Oh, look at this!" Like mom and dad, anybody that's like, "Oh my goodness, we're talking about moving a house, buying a new house." Etc.
Yeah. No, no family member. My parents are farmers. So we lived in a really, really old farmhouse that needed a lot of repairs. And I think as a way to shut me up for my parents, they're like, we'll build you a new house. That's kind of how it got started. And so I remember I would always go to the grocery store with my mom or dad, and you have those magazine racks, the home plans in the grocery store. And that's how I really kind of got started. And so I still have a few of my very first home plan magazines at my parents' house. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we really like these porches." And so we would kind of, with the intent, my parents, whether they were really going to build me a house or not, they never did. But we would go through these and look at them, and then I got really into home plans. Then I realized the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier had the home plans of the week, and so I just got obsessed with it. Then House Hunters was that TV show, and it's just that was just kind of my passion. I really liked it. And then once I bought my house in 2020, I think my passion truly exploded and also made me a much better realtor. Maybe that was a good interaction to reference is once I became a homeowner, I bought a 100-year-old home, and I have renovated almost every single surface of this house since. And I just have that experience. And so then I can tell my clients, hey, I have done this before. This is what it costs. This is the headache that comes from it, or, construction, or, hey, at the end, it's great. So I think I just have a ton of experience and passion, and this is not your average job. I had strep throat all week, and I was still meeting with clients till 10 o'clock every single night. Like, name a job that requires you to do that. This is very much of a lifestyle and not a job. And so you have to love real estate and be passionate about it. Otherwise, you will not be in real estate long.
And that leads right into my next question. I was just thinking about how every time I've ever reached out to you, you've responded in some way, shape, or form. Usually within a couple of minutes. If it's not a couple of minutes, it's Kyle. I was in bed all day yesterday, completely sick. But you've always responded. You're always communicating. How do you balance that career and family life, and how can you turn it off?
Well, that was really hard for me. And I think when I was a lot hungrier for business early on, there was absolutely no turning off. And I don't think that looking back, that was probably good, but I don't think I'm going to be able to give the good level of service if I'm at like a birthday party and I'm like taking my phone call and I was like, okay, like I don't want to be, if I was on the other side of that phone call, I don't want to be inconvenienced by, knowing that I was inconveniencing someone. So last year, I started to implement some boundaries. Like, if I had a client phone call, I would dip out of whatever I was doing so fast. I would run out of a date. I actually, one of my first dates with somebody, I left the first date and I went and showed houses and we got ice cream after. So, but that's not normal. And so I stopped doing that. And, I was a little nervous whether that would impact my business. So far, I don't think so. Last year, I had a lot of health challenges and I had to kind of take a step back from work for a little bit while I regained my health. And that was something that I was really scared about is I really had to tell my clients, hey, I am having some severe health issues right now. You will have to give a little bit of patience until I can get to this thing. And everybody was so kind about it. And, life happens. And so I think for the most part, people understand. And honestly, if I have somebody who doesn't, you're not worth my headache. Like, it just, life is way too short. And I think with last year, my whole life changed when I had some health issues going on. And it totally has changed my perspective on life. And again, like, if people don't respect you, it's just not worth your time. People pick up on good energy too. So I think, my good energy will still attract the people that I want to work with. Honestly, I'm happier than ever in my business by now implementing boundaries, which I wish I would have done sooner, but that's okay. We're good.
I mean, I think to your point, though, I think those boundaries, they're looser when you're younger because you are hungry and you don't necessarily have anything outside of your work. Like, your work is your life at that point. So it totally makes sense. But then what do you do then to completely unwind? Do you like to golf? Do you like to travel? Like, what's your thing?
I like to work on my house. I told you real estate, it's all over the place. I'm very passionate about it. No, I do love to travel. That is my big thing. I like to hop on a good vacation. Last year, I took my very first solo trip to London on a whim. That was really fun. I love to see the world, but also like see the US and see different cultures, see different people. Do really like to work on my house though and renovating it. I got really into gardening. I live in a historic neighborhood full of mature trees, beautiful gardens. That's been something that's very relaxing to me. I love to be outside, enjoy nature, play with my little puppy, and then just do some like concerts and, really, really enjoy life. Life is so short and honestly, like sitting in bed watching Netflix, not really my thing. I like to be out, going trying new restaurants and also a lot of my clients will reach out to me like, "Hey Mariah, I have date night. Where do you think we should go?" And so I've now been kind of the person like, "Hey, like where should we do? What should we do for this? What should we do for that?" Because I like to be out and doing things all the time. But yeah, and then when I'm really trying to do nothing, just sitting at my house and just like enjoying my backyard is just great.
So two questions. And number one, are you a master gardener? Have you gotten into that yet? And then two, have you figured out where you want to go, like a dream vacation?
Europe is always my dream vacation, and I've kind of now made it a goal that I would like to do that trip at least once a year. That's just been my thing. I really like to do it. Master gardener, no, but I am getting good at it. I can talk about trees and shrubs all day long. The people at Home Depot, they know me. Yeah, I'm actually getting really excited to get the mulch out and get my hands dirty outside and yeah. But it's just a good way of relaxing. I usually put in a good podcast and or like a book or something and listen to it. And that's my time to unwind.
Well, last question before we hop into the next segment here. What legacy do you hope to leave behind in the real estate industry, either specifically in the Des Moines market or just in general?
Um, well, I think the way I run my business is I want to do the right thing always. That's what helps me sleep at night. And I think by doing the right thing in real estate is really educating your clients and making sure that they are making the most informed decisions about anything that they do. And so as far as my legacy goes, it would be, someone who be known as someone who is super ethical and really cared about what their clients were doing. I don't ever want to just sell a house. I think it was funny. I was listening to or watching a TikTok late last night, and the girl was like, "This is how you sell a house to a buyer." And you tell them, "What about this? What about that?" And I'm like, that is the last thing that I do. I do not sell homes. I walk in a house and I share, "Hey, this is the neighborhood. This is how close you are. Does this work for you? Do you love it?" And I'll question my clients too, because when I'm like, "Okay, what do we think?" They're like, "It's okay, yeah." And I'm like, nope, it's not. That's not the one. So, I've never, I guess my legacy is that she was very honest, straightforward, and never pushed anybody. I've had lots of clients look for homes for 2 years. And I also have had lots of clients buy the first house I've showed them. So it's all over the board. But really just, maintaining a high level of ethics and just being someone that you can truly trust. That's what's really important to me.
Love it. All right, quick pick segment. This is just you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. I'm gonna give you a this or that type of thing here. So first one is sunrise or sunset,
Ooh, sunset.
sweet or salty snacks,
Sweet.
horror movies or romantic comedies,
Romantic companies. Comedies.
shopping spree or spa day.
Shopping.
That sounds horrible, but okay. Superpower invisibility or flying.
That's always a tough one. Probably invisibility.
I can't swim, so I think flying sounds kind of cool, right? Road trip with friends or that solo travel adventure.
Road trip with friends.
Cake or pie, reality TV or true crime documentaries.
Dateline all the way. True crime.
Dine in restaurant or take out on the couch.
Dine in restaurant.
That seemed like it was obvious from before.
Yeah.
Fancy dress party or casual backyard barbecue.
Gosh, a mix of both. It depends on what my mood is. It depends on how many houses I showed that week. How tired I am.
Camping under the stars or staying in a luxury resort?
Both. Again, depends. I like a good mixture of both.
Be a contestant on a game show or a reality TV show?
Game show. I don't think I could handle the 24-hour Big Brother.
The drama, just too
Yeah,
much
no,
drama.
not for me.
Time travel, either past or future?
Meet family and talk with them. And I'm actually a really big history nerd, so I would love that.
Well, that's going to lead into my next question then. So, if you could have dinner with one person, past or present, in the whole world, who would it be?
Probably a woman who was just a boss. Like, I don't know, like a Eleanor Roosevelt or maybe Michelle Obama back in the day or something like that. Just lessons you can learn from a woman of power.
Oprah before she got the little
Yeah,
network.
there we go. Yes.
Always be slightly late or always be slightly early?
Well, realistically, I actually won like most likely to be late to their own wedding. That is a character flaw of mine, but I try to be early for my showings. So, yeah.
And finally, live in a treehouse or on a houseboat?
Well, houseboat. Then you can go all around the world. Catch some fresh fish, fresh salmon.
All right, let's get into the trending topic. So, in a competitive real estate market, every agent brings something unique to the table, from marketing strategies to client relationships. What do you think truly differentiates yourself from the others?
I think my experience, hands down, and the knowledge that I have of homes. And if there's a problem, like even before we get to the home inspection, when I'm going out and showing homes, I am looking through every single house. And I kind of just like, I look around and I'm sometimes kind of quiet, but I'm looking at windows, cracks, and ceilings. I mean, I'm just looking at it like a hawk. And then I will in turn share with my client, hey, this is an issue, or this is just cosmetic, this is actually not bad at all. Or I will even say, you guys, I hate this house. I actually talk more clients out of buying homes than I do into buying homes, because again, I want to make sure that whatever that they're buying, they're spending a ton of money on this house. I want to make sure it's a sound investment. I want them to call me in 5 to 7 years when they decide to go sell and say, gosh, we got this amazing house because Mariah helped us get this one. I don't want them to say, that Mariah sold me a bad house in a busy street. That's not at all what I want. So, yeah, I think that is probably what differentiates me. I hear of some people when they have used another realtor in the past and they say, gosh, that person kind of talked us into buying this house. We weren't quite ready for this, or they kind of sold us on it because they needed a commission check. Like, that is like nails on a chalkboard to me. I hate to hear that. And I hope that no client ever feels that way when they work with me. But yeah, we're going in there and just, like I said earlier, I have redone almost every inch of my own home. And if I haven't done that, I have had clients who have done that, or I talk with investor clients. I know what these things cost. So I think that's my value add, is that I can share, hey, I've got a guy for this, for that. Like, I have some guys to do really weird jobs. Like, you need a guy? Like, I am Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother. So I think that is what clients really appreciate about working with me, is that, again, I'm knowledgeable about stuff. I know the people that we can call right away to get this situation handled. But then before, again, you do the home inspection, you know what you're getting into. A lot of times when my home inspector will say something, my clients will be like, oh yeah, Mariah's already shown us that during our showing. And I'm ballparking numbers. And if I don't know the answer, then we go talk to an expert. So that is what I love to bring to the table.
Well, Mariah, it's been a pleasure learning more about you and how you do your business. I think one thing I really learned today, and I hope other people learned, is even if they don't call you, which hopefully they do, but even if they don't call you, I think that your answer right there should tell them what they should be looking for in their own agent as well. And if their agent is not doing some of these things, might need to second guess this and maybe give you a call at that point, because there are a lot of fly by your seat kind of realtors out there that got their license and maybe got their license for personal benefit, and they happen to know a couple of cousins that are going to sell. But the market is very challenging, and it's ever evolving, especially with all the things with NAR that we've talked about in the past in the show. And it just seems like you have a good beat on all of that. Like we've talked about, your communication's great, and even if you show up a couple of minutes late to the party, it sounds like you're out there enjoying your time with your clients, so it's totally okay. So, how can people get a hold of you if they do want to contact you?
Yes, they can call me or text me, 515-608-9242, or you can follow me on Instagram, The Des Moines Realtor.
Awesome, and it sounds like they can find you on TikTok. Are you posting on there too?
No, I don't actually post on TikTok. I feel like if I really start like getting into it, I will spend all my time there. But I also do have my Instagram account that I posted a ton of real estate content on there.
I'm just telling you,
Just
the TikTok has the views.
I know. Maybe I dabble into that in 2025. I need to rearrange my goals to include that. But yeah, I think I've got my YouTube channel too that I started posting my listings on. So I think that if somebody needs to find me, you will easily find me.
But well, thanks again for joining the show, and thank you all for listening. If you found anything enjoyable or helpful today, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, subscribe to the podcast, and we'll see you next time on The Lofty Lender.
Thanks, Kyle.